Hello, Steve White, Trek Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, we all know that Star Trek Prodigy was cancelled by Paramount Plus and dumped because no one was watching it. It was just losing them money. And then Netflix bought it, which was really strange, and I didn't really know why. I mean, yes, they have a large audience as far as children, and I guess they need new content. So I thought, well, that makes sense. They're not making as much content, so they're going to buy it from other people. It didn't really occur to me that, well, we've just gone through months of strikes and they don't have any new content, so they were desperate for content, so that's why they bought it. And why did it do well? Well, because it's got no competition, because there's no other new shows. So the Star Trek fans bragging about it hitting Netflix's top 10, like on its first day it got to number 9 in the US or something, and I think it was number 6 in the UK or something. It's not that impressive because, like I said, it has no competition. And also episode length, there's 20 episodes in this season because they basically made the 2 seasons into 1 season. It really was 1 season and then another season of 10 episodes, but they're calling it 1 season. I don't know why, when they really could have split it into 4 seasons all up instead of 2 20-episode seasons. So there's a lot of episodes people to actually watch. So it's all done based on minutes watched. So if you've got 20 episodes for a show, that's obviously going to get more than, say, a series with 5 episodes, because so there's a lot of reasons why the show's actually kind of creeping into the top 10, and I can't expect it's going to stay there that long, because there's a big element of FOMO here as well, because when the show was cancelled, some people who didn't pay any attention to it because it wasn't that interesting to them basically were like, oh my god, I didn't see it, I have to go see it. And then there was a little bit of that. So I think there were some people who had the FOMO and now watching it, but it's not any good, so once they've watched it once, they're not going to come back. That's the other element people are forgetting. It's just not a good show. I mean, it's a good kids show in general, and it's a good Star Wars show, but it's not a Star Trek show. Basically, when they were making the original Star Trek animated series, which is brilliant and, rates really well and does really well with the views, the Brain Trust wanted to have kids on the ship. They're like, oh, we have to have kids on the ship because they think kids are stupid and they need kids on the show to relate to it. That they can't look at adults and aspire to be them and so forth. So fortunately, Gene said no. They did a straight continuation of Star Trek in animated form, and it got an Emmy. It did really well. It's a classic. People are still watching it today. This new show, they went back to the same basic thinking of, we have to have kids for kids to watch it, even though kids have been falling in love with Star Trek for generations without it being reduced to a kiddie show for them. So they did that, and what's worse, they made them aliens, and they basically put them on a ship that's basically the Millennium Falcon. They don't beam on or off, they get in and out the cargo bay, and it's tiny, and it's basically just a Star Wars show. They're basically just a bunch of rebels escaping the Empire and running from Darth Vader like baddie the whole season, and that's all it is. It doesn't really resemble Star Trek, doesn't really have anything to do with Star Trek, just a little bit of lip service occasionally, and that's it. So yeah, it's a decent Star Wars show. It's well written, but it's not Star Trek. It didn't rate well. The only reason why it is now is because FOMO and no competition, and I can't imagine it's going to stay in the charts basically, and it's certainly not going to get another season because, as someone pointed out to me, and I hope it's true, I haven't checked, Netflix shut down their animation studios. So even if it did do well and they thought, well, maybe we should make another season, a 3rd season, they don't have the capacity to do it anymore. So it's not going to happen either way. It's not going to get a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th season. It's not happening. So for all those Star Trek fans bragging about it being in the top 10, you're embarrassing yourselves. It's only there on, what is it when you cheat? Well, either way, it's there because there's no competition. It's the holidays, kids are off, and there was all this FOMO from all this negative press because, they say, no press is bad press. And I guess that's the case, even though all these articles were about the show failing and being cancelled and being dropped and a small amount of fans being traumatised as they didn't have access to it anymore. That did still bring some attention to it. So I think a few people are watching it out of curiosity as well because they didn't have access to it before, because Paramount Plus is not as big as Netflix. But yeah, it's not a good show. It's not Star Trek. It's not going to have the kind of legs that the other Star Trek shows have. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Bye.